We would like to welcome all of you to a virtual field trip to an Ohio pig farm. Thank you so much for taking time to join. That's pretty neat to see so many teachers joining and so many students still filing into classrooms. So you've all been sent surveys. Please be sure and share your feedback with us open and honestly before and after this event. But I'd like to begin and say I'm Jennifer Osterholt. I'm on staff with the Ohio Pork Council, and I'm very excited to get to help host a virtual field trip today. So before we get into that, we need to make sure and thank our sponsors, which are the Ohio Soybean Council, Farm Credit Mid-America, and Cargill. So we also have some support from the National Pork Producers Council and National Pork Board, which we appreciate. We'd like to thank Dan Toland for offering technical support. Many of you got your questions about microphones and cameras answered from Dan, so thank you for that. And we have schools. I lost count of how many schools, Dan. 7 schools, I think. Yeah. So that is fantastic. Without further ado, let's meet our featured guest, our farmer, Rebecca Serber.
Well, hello. Let's see if I can get turned around here. I think these guys are the real star of the show here.
They are. So there you go.
Hello. I see them all waving. Hi,
Yeah.
how are you?
Tell us where you're at and what you've been doing today. It looks like you're sitting down in the barn.
I am. I wanted you guys to be able to see the pigs. I am coming from you today from the Luttrell Finisher, and I am right outside of Leesburg, Ohio, and Wilmington, Ohio. So we are in a finishing barn, which means these guys right here came over to this barn at 50 pounds. So they've just been here 3 weeks now in this barn. And they were raised in a nursery and then brought over here so they can continue to grow and go out to be breeding stock in other places after they're big.
So what's it like to be a farmer, Rebecca? Like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, I am in a few barns every day, and I make sure that the pigs have food and water and that they are all happy and healthy and that everybody is getting along and get what they need every day. Make sure that there's no sick pigs and make sure that they all have free access to water all day and food all day. So I want to make sure that everybody is growing as they should and that they're all healthy. That is the main goal of the day.
Good. So you're sitting in the aisleway in between a couple different pig pens.
I am.
And pigs get pretty curious, right? Tell us what it's like. How come you're not just standing in the middle of the pig pen while you talk to us the whole time?
These little guys very much get to know you. So they, this is what they would be doing to me if I was inside the pen. They very much enjoy people and getting to know what we're doing. So they would be attacking me for attention if I was inside the pen. So I wanted to sit outside so everybody could see them romp and run and play a little bit. They just got moved and sorted down when they were as babies over at the nursery. They were in pens of 15 to 20, and we moved them here to the finisher barn, and the pens are much, much bigger. So we actually re-penned them into pens of 40, and now they grew a little bit bigger and they were ready for their own space. So we just actually moved these guys and gave them a new home today from other pens with other pigs to their new home where they'll grow out for the rest of their 6 months approximately here in this barn before they'll go on to another barn.
All right. Can you show us a little bit about what the feed and the drinking fountain that the pigs use?
Absolutely. Actually, I just heard it kick on, so you might actually get to see the feed filling. Let's see if I can move slowly enough that I don't make everybody dizzy. So here's the feeders. Oh, and you are getting to see them get fed. So on a daily basis, when they eat their feed out of their feeders, it goes down and then it automatically kicks back on to refill the feeders as they eat the feed out of the bin. So everything is automated. The pigs have access to food all day, every day. And they also have access to water, all they need, all they can drink, all day, every day. Here's one guy on the other side, they're drinking. So to drink their water, they bring their nose right in here and push that little button, and you can see the water comes out for them. So their own personal drinking fountains.
We can see them. We can see them chewing on your leg. So
Oh, yes.
we know you walk through the pens a couple times a day,
We do.
but you usually don't just go stand there for a half an hour and talk to students, right?
No, no. Usually it is a walkthrough. We want to make sure that everybody that is laying down gets up and walks around, and we want to make sure that when they walk that they have no limps and no hurts on their feet, and just make sure again that they have access to their feed and their water, and that as they move very well, no stiff legs or anything like that. So on a daily basis, we want to get them up, make sure they're walking and happy and healthy. And usually when they're tromping around and jumping and running, you know that they're pretty happy.
So can you show us the feed? Can you put some in your hand and show it in front of the camera, please, and tell us what it's made of?
Absolutely. So there is some of the feed that's coming in from the bins outside, and it has corn, and it has soybeans, and it has minerals.
Whoops. Hey, Rebecca, you might have shut your camera off.
Oh, I apologize.
You're fine. So corn,
back there.
Corn and soybeans are the main ingredients, right?
They are. And then at the mill where it is made and then brought to us on a truck, they add minerals and vitamins for the pigs that they need to grow sufficiently.
So when you drive around Ohio, you might see fields that have really tall plants. So plants that are taller than us. And that corn is, it's field corn. So it's actually not sweet corn. The animals eat something different. So the animals eat that field corn. And then if you see fields that are like waist high, that would be soybeans. So corn is the energy and soybeans provide the protein that pigs need to grow. And we've got some samples right here. So that's a whole soybean. That's the whole kernels of corn. And then when they're ground up and mixed together, there's the feed sample. All right, what else do you want to show us, Rebecca?
Oh, we have about 750 pigs in the barn here today. So if you want, I'll try and pan kind of slow. So you can see there's heaters on the wall. I know it was cold this morning when I got up. So the heat will keep the barn warm for the pigs. And then the curtains that are up right now on the side of the barn, if it were to get warm during the day, those would drop down just a little bit. Those are also automated. The heat and the air, depending on what the conditions are outside. The pigs are always a very nice, I'd say between 77 and 65 degrees. So that's how we can get away with wearing the shirts and short sleeves and be comfy.
All right. Shall we jump to some questions?
Sure, that'd be great.
This is a good one. These questions are from Ms. Lamberto's class. And Adeline asked, how do you train the pigs?
And it's funny that she used the word train because pigs can be trained. And it's just a daily activity. You know, I have a way that I walk through the barn and I check the pigs and I see the pigs, and they do get used to how you walk them and look at them. And so it's just a daily thing. So if you were going to work with your dogs every day and train them, it's kind of the same way. These guys, they get used to you and used to what they know you expect from them, so you can see them walk and whatnot.
So the big things that you train them are to find the food and water, right? When they first come into a pen?
It is, and we actually did that today when we moved them to their new pens, even though they'd been in the barn. We splashed the water from the waterers that they're back there drinking from and out onto the floor so they could find. And then the food, you can see that they're all lined up at the feeder. So even when they come in as babies, we'll take them to the feeder and toss some feed out onto the floors here, so it brings them in to where the feeders are at and where the waters are at.
So the next question is about babies being separated from their mother. And that's Aaron asked that question. Why do they have to be separated? And it can sound sad, but when you think about it, pigs just get so big that they can no longer drink milk, right? They need more food. So can you talk about what type of farm you're at here and how you work with other farmers and how you guys are all specialized?
I can do that. So there are a few specialized barns, and these guys actually came from what we call our sow units, and that is where the mamas have their babies and in the farrowing rooms. And once the babies get about 21 days to, so that's about 3.5, 4 weeks, these guys load up on a truck from their mamas and they go into a nursery. And a nursery is another specialized barn where we can take care of them as babies and be sure that they get everything that they need. You know, the pens are smaller and they have more individualized care. And then once they grow to about 50 pounds, we move them to a finisher barn. And that's where we are here now. And the pens are a little bit bigger, and they can stay here for about 6 months until they are 280 to 320 pounds. And then there are farmers all over the world that want them to come to their farms and have babies at their farms. So we generally raise female pigs that are known as gilts, and the farmers want to buy those to come to their barns and have babies. So when they are full grown, we will ship them out once again on a semi, and they will travel to whoever would like to have them to make babies on their farms.
Wow. So let's go back to the mother barn. Do you know how many pigs each mom would typically have in a litter?
I believe the litters are about 12 to 17 piglets. Is that about right?
I would think so, yep.
And I believe that's what the numbers are right now.
Those piglets are about 2 pounds when they're born. And in 21 days, they're going to weigh how many pounds? So how big are they when you get them?
The girls are usually, I would say, 15 to 20 pounds when we receive them.
So pigs grow really fast. If in 3 weeks they've gained 20 pounds, that's a lot of growing, and the mom can only make milk for so long. And then it's time to transition them to the corn and the soybean based food, and they just keep right on growing, don't they?
Yes, they do.
So we have a great question from General Rosecrans. How much can they eat a day?
At all of our farms, the pigs can eat all they would like, all day, every day. So when they are done eating, they will go find a spot to lay down and rest. And when they're hungry again, they can get up and eat. And it's kind of a vicious cycle for them. That's what they enjoy doing. And after their naps, they usually get a little romp and run in together, especially since they just got split from their pens. So they're pretty cute at this age, actually.
So we have a good question from Elyria Community Elementary. Where do the piglets sleep? William asked that question.
So the piglets will sleep on each other, but just usually wherever they fall down. It's kind of like toddlers. When they've run out of energy, they just kind of they collapse where they are and they will go to sleep, whatever is comfortable for them.
So the pigs are going to stay in the, like right now we can see one pig pen very well. You're at one end, we can see the end with the curtains and the wall to the outside, and we can see feeders and waterers on the fences on each side or the gates.
Yes.
So the pigs are going to stay, they're going to do everything they need to do in this pen.
That's
and
correct.
And you had good points, Rebecca, but they also have the areas where they typically eat and drink. And then they have a special area where they go to the restroom and they'll sleep in a little different area typically, right?
That is correct. So usually people think of pigs as dirty animals, but they do a very good job of eating and sleeping in the clean areas of their pens. And then they will choose a place where they go to the restrooms, and it's usually towards the back of the pens. But these guys haven't decided yet. Like I said, they they just were moved today, so they don't know what's up yet.
We've got another question from Caleb at Baker Elementary, and he wants to know, this is a tough one, do pigs have better hearing or smelling?
I don't know. I don't exactly know the answer to that. Do you, Jennifer?
I don't know.
I would say they have great hearing, only for the reason that if somebody enters the barn, once I'm here, they will all boosh at the same time. They just make, it's like a collective almost bark sound because they hear something, or if it thunders or lightnings. So I'd say they're very intuitive animals. So I'm not sure which they do better, but I do know that they have very keen sound hearing.
Good. So a question from General Rosecrans. How old are your pigs?
These guys, let me think here. So 20, I would say they are approximately now maybe 3 months old now. That is my, that's where I'm gonna guess where we're at, being that we just moved here. So, yep, I'd say they're 3, that's my guess, 3 months old here.
Okay, good. And Matt with Baker Elementary would like to know, why did you become a pig farmer?
I was very lucky that my family was starting this adventure into the pig farming, and it just seemed like it was going to be a great fit for my life and our family. So I did it to just something new and a new adventure, really, is why I chose to do this. And I think with with every job that you have, it is ups and downs, and this has definitely had more ups than downs. So I guess I'm a little lucky when you compare jobs and I hear my friends talk that I enjoy this very much. It's a very satisfying job, and it's just nothing that I had ever done before, and had the opportunity to branch out and try something new, and I said absolutely, and I've been at it ever since.
So you used to work at a bank, right?
I did.
And then you came to the pig farm, and did you have a little helper with you for a while?
Yes, I did. And she still comes. I have a 15-and-a-half-year-old daughter. And when I started the barn, which was the reason for the new adventure, I had just had my daughter, and I was actually able to bring her to the barn, and she was able to be here with me and sleep on the washer or dryer. And we had a playpen, and we had a swing in the middle of the pig pen. So um, it has definitely worked out to be a pig farmer and to raise these guys and raise my daughter at the same time.
That's neat. So we're getting several more questions. The one question from General Rosecrans, I think I missed. I'm not sure if it's how loud, but I'm going to skip ahead to Elyria Community Elementary said, what do the pigs have on their ears? Austin asked that
Oh,
question.
great question. So these guys are special breeding stock that we actually send right back into our sow units that they came from. So they are what we consider replacement gilts for our sow unit. So the tags in their ears is what they're asking about. And I don't know if I can get a pretty good picture of one of these guys, but they have different numbers on them, and they identify each pig who who their mom is, who their dad is, when they were born, and where they were born. So it's just an identifying factor for the pigs for us to know who they are and where they came from.
Great. All right. Valley View Elementary asked, how do the pigs get clean? That's a
How do
good
the
one.
pigs get clean? I would say by each other. I don't know if you just saw they lick one another, and again, the pigs are really clean animals. So walking on the slats that you see them walking on, any manure or feces actually go through the slats down into what we call a pit, and twice a year those pits are pumped out. So as you can see, the pens are actually fairly clean. One, because they just moved into their pens today, but two, because the slats and the manure falling through the slats, so they don't actually lay in their waste usually. They kind of, there they are, starting to hang out up here in the front and get comfortable and lay down.
So a lot of times we've probably all read books about pigs rolling in the mud, and we probably expected to see dirty pigs, right? But these pigs, do they ever get very dirty?
Our pigs really do not. They stay bright white for the most part. Um, every now and again, if you see a silly one rolling in the manure, but on the most part, they are very clean and stay very clean throughout their lives.
So what would be some of the reasons that you would keep these pigs in the barn only and not let them outside to roll around in the mud?
So our facilities are all considered biosecure facilities. That means we want to keep any germs that are outside, and we want to keep their health status very good. So if I am sick, I do not come to work because I do not want to make my um, pigs or anybody here sick. So our health status is very high, and we do not want these guys to get sick. So we have no intermingling of outside pigs with our pigs. We do not we don't go visit other farms that don't have the same health status as what we do, just so we can make sure that everybody stays healthy. And we have a vet that comes in at least once a month. And if we were to ever have problems, we would have them come more than that, just because of.
Is that a veterinarian, you said?
That is correct, yes.
And so I've learned that people can actually carry germs on their hands and feet that could get pigs sick that might not affect us. So I've heard you and other people in your family say before that you just want to keep those pigs as healthy as possible so that you don't have to use antibiotics or anything else on them.
Yes, Jennifer, that's right. We want to, and that's why the pigs are here raised in a barn. We want to take all of the stresses that would be outside, all those coyotes you've been hearing, and all the animals that are outside on the move. We want to keep our pigs safe from that. We want to keep them safe from the cold and the extreme heat. And we want them to just be able to eat and drink and sleep and play and be happy and healthy. So if we are sick, we don't come to the barn, and somebody else will do our chores for that day because we do not want to introduce any kind of germs to them.
So can you show us the furnace again? Because you said in the beginning you have a furnace that runs when it's cold to keep it warm. And then in the summer when it gets too hot, you have fans and misters, right? To help cool the pigs down.
So there is the furnace. And it is, we have sensors throughout the barn, that if it senses what the temperature is inside the barn. And I believe right now these guys are all set at 69 degrees. So if it falls below 68 degrees, that furnace will turn on and it will run and it will heat the room back up.
All right. We've got a few more questions. One is, are pigs blind or deaf when they are first born? And Max asked that at Baker Elementary.
I do not believe so, but I have had blind pigs. Where because you don't know until you actually notice that they are running into walls or each other. But to my knowledge, I believe they are born seeing and hearing and looking for their mama's milk.
But that's typically very uncommon, right?
Oh, it's very uncommon. Yes, I believe. I'll tell on myself a little bit. I've been here doing this for almost 16 years, and I have only seen, I can think of 3 in 16 years that have been blind.
All right. So I'm trying to think of a question. Let's have all the students get your hands ready. Get your hands up. And show us on your fingers, how many months old do you think a pig is when it reaches market weight? Can you see any of the classes, Rebecca? Do you see anybody that's guessing the right answer?
I see some that are very close. I see one that I can see that is correct.
I saw some 5s.
Yep, that's what I saw also.
I see a 6.
Yeah.
I see some 10s, maybe an 8. Oh, all right. I see some 4s. Some 10s. We're all over the board. So how old? Now you're a little bit different because most of your pigs are going to go on to be mothers. But if you were raising the pigs to be pork, how many months old would they be when they are when they go to be pork?
Oh, all these little ones that have their fingers at a 6 would be correct. So it takes about 6 months, give or take a week or 2, for these pigs to go from that 12 to 18 pounds that we talked about earlier to about 320 pounds. So they are very, very fast growers.
Wow. All right, we've got a couple more questions. Brianna asked, why do pigs weigh so much if they don't eat a lot?
Well, it is genetic that they are very fast growers, and They do eat quite a bit. They are big eaters. They have full access to feed and water, like I said, at all times. So whenever they are interested in eating, they can. And that is why they grow so quickly, just because they have that free range of eating and drinking and sleeping anytime they'd like.
And you work with pig dietitians to make sure that the pigs have just what they need at every stage, right?
Yes, we do. We actually have formulas for each stage of feed that the pigs go on. So just like us, as we grow, from a baby to a toddler to a teenager, we change our way of eating, and so do the pigs. So as they are babies, they drink mother's milk, and then once they leave mom, we call that they are weaned off of their moms, and we take them into the nurseries. And in the nurseries, they get a pellet feed,
So
and
that's
we hand that to them.
a special recipe, right? And then you just keep changing the recipe.
That's correct. Just to go along with as they grow and their bellies change and they can tolerate different foods, we change their formulas, and so they can have their maximized growth with the formula of food that they do eat.
We've got several more questions that have come in the chat. So let's try to run through. We've got about 5 fairly quickly. So from Illyria, Kellen asked, do the pigs fight with each other sometimes?
Yes, they actually do. If one of the ways that I try to explain it is there's a queen bee in almost every pen. And so when you change the pen dynamic, anytime you change the pen dynamic, they will have to decide who is going to be the queen of the pen, as I call it. So they will every now and again fight with one another. If you have a load that leaves or a load that comes in, or if one falls out and doesn't feel good and we move it to another pen, and if it was high on the chain, they have to decide who's going to rule the roost, as another way of putting it.
Okay. And Valley View asks, if the pigs become sick, how do you take care of them?
If a pig were to become sick here, I don't know if you can see, maybe this girl right here has a blue mark on her back, and that's a paint mark because probably one day she might have had a limp or she didn't feel good, or we could tell for a reason that she didn't feel good, and we actually treat them just the way that a doctor would treat kids with specific problems. We have some medicine that our veterinarians have told us what medicine is good for a limp or what medicine is good for a cough. And we can treat those pigs with an injection, a shot. And usually, even you can tell this girl's had a shot, and she looks very, very good to me today. So my guess is she probably wasn't feeling the best yesterday, but it looks like her medicine that she was given yesterday has perked her right up.
So Rebecca, do you ever use hormones or steroids in your pigs? That's a question I hear a lot.
Yes, and we hear that often also. And the answer to that is no. It is illegal in the pork industry to do that with your animals. So they get everything that they need from their corn and their beans and their vitamins and minerals, and a veterinarian directs us on what we are and are not allowed to give the pigs for medicine.
That's right. So growing pigs, there's no access. You can't even get it if you want it. Sometimes the moms need help, like having babies, or there's some things there, but not in growing pigs.
Correct.
So how many pigs are in each pen?
In our barn today, we are putting about 22 pigs in each pen. So I know there are a couple of pens. I'll swing my camera around. a little bit that only have 20, and there are some that have 22, but we're not putting any more than 22 pigs in a pen here.
And that's kind of a tricky question too, because when the pigs are smaller, you can have a lot more in a pen. But as they get bigger, then you move them to another barn and bigger pens, right?
Right, that's right. So you can see here, this pen, they were all just moved, and all the free space that is still inside the pen, but this is where they will grow, so they will have plenty of room.
Great. All right. I think, oh, we missed one. Do pigs ever sleep? Did I ask?
Yes. Oh, yes. They very much enjoy their nap times.
I've seen some numbers that say a lot of pigs, especially the older that they get, will sleep 20 out of 20 or lay down 20 out of 24 hours of the day.
They will. Well, just think, if you were 320 pounds, would you want to be up romping around anymore, Jennifer? I know, I don't think that I would.
Your pigs are just very curious right now because you're in the barn and you're interesting, right?
Oh, very much. We are chew toys to these guys. They love to chew on the boots and on the pant legs, and they're just at that curious, I want to call them, they're about teenagers right now. So.
Well, good. We've gone over time a little bit, but we've had so many great questions.
I think so.
Is there anything else you want to say to wrap up, Rebecca?
Just, I hope I hit everybody's questions for them, and I want everyone to know that we do our best to keep our pigs happy and healthy, and that all of your meat from the United States is hormone free, and all of those packaging things that you might see in the grocery store with mom and dad when you're out and about, all of your meat here from the United States is it's at the top of the food chain.
So if we want to support farmers like your family and other families that I know of in your area and all over the state, where do we go to buy that pork?
Your local grocery store.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Rebecca. Let's get those hands ready again, and let's give Rebecca a round of applause.
Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer. I appreciate everything.
Thank you for sharing. I hope that you guys all have a great afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I can't wait until next time.
All right. Thanks for all of the support from the sponsors and from everyone involved. Goodbye.